Hello, everyone, and welcome to the conversation with Yolanda Trotman. I hope you all are having a wonderful, wonderful hump day. This is a very, very special episode tonight. I'm so excited to have our guest on who has made such an impact in the world of gospel music in such a short amount of time. If you have just started following this series, which is called The Evolution, what we are talking about is the evolution of four distinct genres of music, very specifically R&B, jazz, hip hop, and of course tonight we're talking about gospel music. And whether or not you grew up in the church or not, it's fair to say that gospel music has a way of uplifting, especially uplifting mood, uplifting freedom of thought, uplifting faith, all of those things that are particularly critical and important as far as the impact that gospel music has had. I'm particularly excited about our guest tonight because we have some similarities as far as growing up in the church. I know for me, being a preacher's kid and obviously being in a situation of growing up in the church and having that impact, but as well as some of the personal things I think he and I both experienced as far as our parents is concerned. I'm just so excited to have him tonight. So if you've ever been a fan of Sunday Best, you will know exactly who I'm talking about. And of course, Sunday Best is a series that finds the next star in the world of gospel music. And I could not be more excited to have him join us as we talk about this evolution of gospel music and the impact that obviously that has had on not just him, but the people and the lives that he's touched with his most powerful voice. So welcome to the conversation, ladies and gentlemen. None other. Hey. Okay,
hey.
But none other than Melvin Crispell III. How are you, my dear?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I am fantastic. So for those of you just joining us, Facebook was tripping for a hot minute, but we're good. So sit back, relax, and we are going to have an incredible conversation tonight with my guests. I'm so excited to see you, so excited to be able to talk to you. So for those of you who are tuning in, make sure if you have comments or questions, make sure you drop them in the comments so that we can see them. And of course, drop a heart from wherever that you are tuning in from, whether it is on the Facebook page or the YouTube channel. And of course, as always, if you have not already done so, make sure that you subscribe, make sure that you like, and make sure you follow us on all things social media at The Convo Pod Show. So Melvin, darling, how are you feeling? How are you doing?
Amazing. I'm doing great. God is so good.
Isn't he? All the time.
Absolutely.
So, okay, I know you're super busy, especially with everything going on with the new release and the new project, and we're going to get into all of that. But there's quite a few people that might not know who you are or know your story, which is absolutely incredible. So, in 3 words, who is Melvin?
Oh, goodness.
3 words.
3 words. I would say Melvin is creative, kind. What's another good word? Let's see. And strong.
Yes. Okay. Kind. You is kind. Well, creative and strong. Why did you pick creative?
Creative. I just feel like, I've been blessed with, the ability to, with music. And I feel like there's just so many different sides that I can tap into that I enjoy learning. And it allows me to create so much that I haven't even tapped into yet. Even the things that I think of on a daily basis, even, for my future, for helping people, I just have a creative mind. And I think, that's one thing that I admire about myself.
Outstanding. Now, where are you from originally for people who don't
I am
know?
originally from Brooklyn, New York. But I
Don't hear
currently
any of that in your voice.
I know. I
Where'd
know.
it go?
Well, I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina when I was let's see, 8, about 2006.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I moved here, and that, the accent didn't really stick. It comes back every now and again,
Mm-hmm.
but for the most part, this is me.
I heard that. So now you come from gospel royalty. Did you always come from, now as the we'll talk about your mom and dad, but has your extended family always been a musical family?
I would say my grandmother. I know my grandmother grew up singing. I know she sang, of course, in church and different things like that. She would lead with the choir. And then my grandfather, and this is just on my mom's side. My grandfather, he did have his own R&B band that I have no clue about. I just know it was a thing sometime.
Right.
And then on my dad's side, no, my grandma wasn't a singer. My grandfather was a preacher. He was a preacher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he passed before I was born, so I didn't get to meet him. But yeah, so not really, but it's in there a little bit.
What denomination?
um, me personally,
Mm-hmm.
I come out of Church of God in Christ, as
Mm-hmm.
well as being apostolic. I basically was born into two churches, under Bishop Huey Rogers in New York, the Greater Bible Way Temple, and Bishop Carly Williams Sr. Uh, Institutional Church of God in Christ. So that was really my upbringing from New York.
Okay. And so how did you all end up in Charlotte? Was it a work move or was it family? Like, how did you all end up
Yes.
here?
So my father was afforded the opportunity to become the minister of music for my current church, the Life Center of Charlotte, Bishop Brian D. Moore, and then we've been here ever since.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay. So where did you go to high school?
Okay, so I went to 4 different high schools. I
I
went to
know
a
this
different
had
high school every year.
what in the world? Okay.
If I could name them, let me see. First, my 9th grade was Oasis School of the Arts. 10th grade was Queens Grant High School. 11th grade was Brisbane Academy, and 12th grade was Full Circle Academy.
Oh wow. And
Yeah.
so was there a particular reason why you ended up going to so many different schools, or was it different opportunities, or what was it?
It was a little bit of both. I was experiencing bullying in middle school, and so my mom decided to take me out and homeschool me. I was homeschooled 7th and 8th grade, and then when I got to 9th grade, there was an opportunity that opened up to go to private school. So I went there, and that was Oasis. And then there were challenges at that school, so we switched again. And I think we moved really far away from that school, so we switched again.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't really remember what happened in my 11th grade year, but then we had to switch again. So it was just
Mm-hmm.
one of those whirlwind type things.
Right. And so I know you've spoken on this before, and we'll get into it a little bit, but you've mentioned before that you had experienced bullying
Mhm,
as a young adult. How did
mhm.
that shape did that impact your love for gospel music? Were you singing at that point, or was that something separate and apart from your journey?
No, I had 2 wonderful parents who, reminded me that I was, beautiful from the inside out. And they encouraged me in that every day. You know, they of course didn't like bullying, and they would allow me to, go to school, see how things went, see if things, escalated. And then things just got to a point where, they felt like I shouldn't have to deal with that, on a day to
Mhm.
day. And
Right.
so they just basically took me out. It didn't affect me, with gospel music. I was still singing, still. Church was actually my getaway. Music has always, always, always been my getaway.
Hmm.
It's like it was my safe place to run to.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, it's always been a part of me.
And so how did you, now you said as far back as the eighth grade, how did you manage it? And what would you say to a young person who may be dealing with that now?
How I managed was actually being vocal. That is very, very key.
Hmm.
Not being afraid to speak out and let someone know that you're uncomfortable with something or something is not right. I think the fear that they may put inside of other young people can stop them. It can and allow them to continue to be hurt
Mm,
and to be bullied. But when they speak out, there's someone there.
right.
And I heard Tyler Perry say something. You know, if you say something to someone and they don't believe you, say it again to someone else, and keep saying it and keep saying it, because there's someone that cares, someone that will listen. So being
Mm.
vocal is the key. Yeah.
That's very, very powerful. So for those of you just joining us, Netta, Yolanda, I see you. I think one of the things that's very important, especially if you're catching the replays, and make sure that you share this, because I won't take too big of a deep dive into your story, but I just think it's so important because there's so many themes that I think resonate with so many different people. So, eighth grade through high school, you talked about going through different transitions at different schools. Did you ever find yourself at a point where you felt like, even though church was your escape, that you somehow had to do more to, and use the term loosely, to fit in?
To fit in back then, I wouldn't say so. Because I just knew that being around my parents, growing up with my parents, there were so many opportunities that I was afforded. Different people I was able to meet,
Hmm.
places, concerts that because that was my life. I cared so much about music. That was my
Hmm.
entire childhood. So
Right.
just knowing that I had that getaway, I didn't really, of course there were times where I would I feel like I want to fit in. I feel like I should be like this, should be like that, but at a young age, I kind of had to grow up fast. So at a young age, I kind of started to realize that, I am who I am, and that is okay,
Hmm.
and being proud of who I am. That is, that was, important back then.
And why do you think that you were bullied? Was it more physical, or was it just the fact that you had different interests? Why do you think it was?
I think it was because, of course, weight. I've always been a chubby one as a kid. Weight,
Hmm.
different things, being different,
Hmm.
liking things that, other people wouldn't like. Like I would, I'm a big kid, so I love, cartoons and different things like that. Just being that way.
Hmm.
People are mean, kids are mean. Even back then, even now,
Hmm.
and it's having friends, even at school. I remember, I had friends who would help me, get through those times, and help me, be safe, in school, and have making sure that I had a safe space. It was, very important to have.
And so look at you now, as Yolanda Crowder says, from being bullied to being known and recognized worldwide. Look at God. Now, so let's step back for a second.
Mhm.
You come from gospel royalty. Your father, Melvin Crispell Jr., your mother, Tunesha.
Yes,
I'm saying her name correctly,
yes,
right? Tunesha.
absolutely.
Um, Beautiful voices, of course. Um, what was the first song that you remember singing? First gospel song? And how old were you, if you
I
remember?
was two. It was an old James Hall song. I think it was when my parents first realized that I wanted to sing. I was 2 years old, and I know that's young, but I really remember going around the house singing this old James Hall song. I can't recall the song, but I remember that's what it was, because that's all my parents would play, like, in the house.
Hmm.
James Hall gospel, Hezekiah Walker, Timothy Wright. Those songs would be just circulating through the house.
Hmm.
Um, but I was 2 years old, and that's when they realized that I, wanted to sing.
So everybody else was doing ABCs,
And I'm
and
singing
you were
choir
like,
songs.
I love it. I love it. So did you find yourself being pushed into the forefront as a singer at a young age, or were you kind of shielded from that because your parents were so well known?
Definitely, I was shielded for a long, long time. Even times where I didn't want to be, I wanted to go sing, wanted to do different things. My parents were very, very protective over me.
Hmm.
Of course, they definitely pushed me and shaped me to being a singer. But I was so young that it You know, they just had to protect me in certain ways. Didn't understand it always, but you know, now seeing, you know, thinking, looking back, I you know, I understand.
Okay. And so, did you ever? Now this I don't know. Did you ever sing within a group, or were you always, or did you tend to be more of a solo artist?
I tended to be more of a solo artist. Well, when I was younger, not really. I would sing with my dad's choir, Testimony.
Mm-hmm.
I would sing with my mom, company, her group when she would go sing. And I've had a couple of different singing opportunities at a young age. Like I was a part of the Charlotte Children's Choir for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
And that was pretty much it.
And
Yeah.
so, what's your favorite song that you remember singing? Not now, because we already know it's your song. But as a child, what was one of your favorite songs to sing?
um, as a child, um, goodness. I would say it would be a song off my mom's album. That was really, really big for me. Probably either Holy or Saved off of my mom's album.
Mm-hmm.
I would sing those songs all the time because like
Mm-hmm.
that was my favorite singer. Literally, that was my favorite singer, and I would learn so much from her. She taught me so much,
Mm-hmm.
even the things that she probably didn't realize that she taught me.
Mm-hmm.
She did, and I'm just so grateful to God to have had her in my life.
So tell us about, how would you describe your mom and how would you describe your dad for those people who didn't know what they were like behind the scenes?
Let's see. To describe my dad, very funny, very witty. He was crazy at times, but he was that one, you know, that was very loving, and he, you know, had a big heart, very big heart. He took care of whoever, anybody that, you know, got connected to him, would become family. And that's the same for my mom as well. But my mom was, you know, she was always the voice of reason,
Mm-hmm.
even though we didn't want her to be right with certain situations. She was always right. And you know, but we loved her. We loved
Mm-hmm.
her. She was the most angelic person. She was a saint, and I can literally say that she lived a life with God, like walking with him, like from a
Mm-hmm.
private standpoint. She was my example.
Mm-hmm.
And I just appreciate her for that. My dad also, you know, of course he was different in the way he did things, but his heart was for God, like always.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he would tell about Jesus and get so excited about him wherever, you know, wherever they went, even together, you know, the things that they would work on together would be double
Mm.
trouble. And it was, and I got to experience all of it. So, you know, it was amazing.
And so I can definitely relate to this part, to, one of the parts of your journey as far as losing your parents so close together. I believe your mother and your father passed within about 2 years or so of each
Yeah,
other.
about a year and a half. Yep.
Same.
Yep.
And I lost mine much later in life, a year and a half apart. My mother passed first of aneurysm, and then my
Wow.
father passed of complications due to diabetes.
Wow.
And my
Sorry to
dad
hear that.
was a preacher, so I'm a preacher's kid and a teacher's kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I could really relate to that, to your story, because it doesn't matter if you are younger or older, you still, there's a
Absolutely.
void.
Absolutely.
Especially when it's that close together,
Yeah.
and especially when you just can never really, really be prepared for that.
Yeah.
And with that happening, and through high school, you're 16 or 18, 16 and 18, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
So how did you navigate such a traumatic loss and still be able to push through, if you will,
It was
and be able
tough.
to stand in your own faith during that time?
Yeah, it was definitely tough. I can say, you know, I finished high school. I took a break for a while. Um, to help my mom. My mom was dealing with cancer. You know, after my dad
Mhm.
passed, she'd still been dealing with cancer, and it was very tough. So I had to get a job, you know, to help out around the house. And of course, I didn't have to, but you know, as a man, I had to, you know, help. I had to do something because, you know, to see my mom go through what she went through, you know, she didn't deserve it, and I had to do everything that I could to help her. But you know, it was tough, but God was with me. You know, that was my testimony, that God literally gave me joy through those times. There were some dark times, being transparent. There were some dark times, and some hopeless times. But he literally gave me joy, gave me hope, and it was like, I know that this does not seem right. This does not look like it's supposed to look, and this, you feel like this shouldn't be happening, but just trust me. I have a plan. I have a plan for your life, and I've got everything in control. So I began to just trust him, and trust him, walk with him, and just let him guide me through every day, specifically every single day. Not worrying too far ahead. But I grew up fast. I had help people around me to keep my head on straight and different things like that. But yeah, glory be to God. I'm here.
Now, how old are you now?
I'm 23. I am 23.
Oh, you still have a baby
I know. I'm 23 years old.
I love it. I love it. So for those of you just tuning in, make sure that you also go back, and if you are on now, are your handles the same for Twitter? Are they the same for Twitter and Instagram and all of that?
Yes. They're at Instagram is at the third Melvin Crispell.
Got that.
Facebook is Melvin Crispell III, and Twitter is at _ Melvin Crispell.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So if you're not following him, make sure that you follow him on all platforms, of course. Yes. And of course, we'll talk about that and get back to that at the end. So now, how does your journey then shift? Because, obviously Sunday Best was the catapult, but you were singing obviously long before that. Were you still singing in the church primarily, or had you started doing some recording? What was happening before Sunday Best?
I was doing a lot of background work for different people, which I love to do. I feel like that is something a vocalist should do, period, to, keep up on their craft. And then I would be working. I worked for American Airlines. I worked for Massage Envy. I worked for a restaurant before. Yeah, I was really big in customer service before the show. And like I said, I would record here and there with other people. Did a couple of features, which was really exciting and fun. And I, appreciate everybody who's helped me. And, in those times, they know in those times, they've helped me and helped me to grow. And then one day I was at work and I just randomly got a call. I was working at Massage Envy. This was years later. And, I faced a lot, trying to just live, after that, living down here on my own in Charlotte, just trying to live and grow. I'm still a teenager coming out of my teenage, right into my 20s. But one day I was at work and got a call and it was like, you need to audition for Sunday Best. I was like, no, no. And I really said no. And there was just like, okay. And a couple days later, I got another call and it was like, I really think you need to audition for Sunday Best. And I said no again. I was like, I just don't think that's it. That's not for me. And mind you, when I was younger, I used to watch it. I watched like maybe a season and a half maybe. And I stopped watching it because, I would tell my parents that I really wanted to do it. And they did not want me to do it at all. They would tell me so many things about, why I shouldn't do it. And I didn't understand it. So I just stopped watching it because I didn't want to have it in my head and all that extra stuff. And so now, I would say no. Then one more time, someone called me a couple days later, a family member, and they was like, what have you got to lose? Like, you can at least just give it a try. You never know what can happen.
Right.
Just go. You never know what can happen. Like, I'm not saying that you're going to win. I'm not saying that you're going to lose, but you just never know. You never know who you're going to meet. And so I said, okay, I'll think about it. So I submitted the application and it got back to me and I was like, okay. And then it went on. I did an audition. I got a chance to do an audition. And I thought it wasn't for me after that because a long time had passed and I felt like they had already started with the production and I missed it. They didn't call me back. And I got a call randomly on like a Thursday night saying, hey, we want you to be a contestant. We want you to come to Atlanta. And this was 2.5 days before I had to leave. And they told me I had to be prepared to go for a month. And I'm like, Lord, do I really need to like do this? This is
Right.
crazy. And I was like, okay. And from then, God literally started setting things up. Like,
Mm.
I was working at Massage Envy, and knowing that their schedules, you know, you can't take off like that. You can't, you know, miss days at work. I called them and told them that the show called me.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, well, how long do you need to be gone? I told them the dates, and they said, we got you. Go do your best. And like,
Right.
from that moment, like, I could have cried. I was like, I know that they don't, you know, do that. And it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
God, thank you, because you cleared this space for me to go do something. I don't know what it is, but I'm
Right.
going. You cleared this time. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to go. And then from then on, God literally took it. He took it
And
all the way.
and so you were there consistently. You didn't you didn't travel back and forth. You just stayed.
No, I was there the entire time. Yeah, I stayed.
Oh wow. And so it's you and I can't remember what's the original number of contestants.
Originally it was 20.
Okay, I thought so.
Mhm.
And so what's that like? Because obviously everybody's talented, but how do you navigate personalities and all of those things during this process?
Well, me, and you know, I've heard so many horror stories across the seasons. Um, but for me, it wasn't hard because I'm a person that, like I said, I'm kind. I love everybody. Anybody that knows me knows that I
Mhm,
have a big heart, that I love everybody.
mhm,
You know, beyond flaws, all of that. So it wasn't hard for me. You know, people, you know, came. There were, you know, interesting moments, but I was, you know, I came with the mentality of, you know, God, I don't know why you have me here, but you have me here, and just
mhm,
bless everybody here. And I just want to be used for you. That's
mhm,
it. Um, and you know, meeting them where, you know, that was my family. They were amazing. You know, it was a little weird the first day or so because
mhm.
everybody was, you know, feeling people out, how people
Right.
normally do. But afterwards, you know, we started really becoming family. And it was awesome. You know, I knew Tiffany Andrews.
Mhm,
I've known her like just about all my life, literally.
mhm,
So when we saw each other at the airport, we both were like, "What are you doing here?" And we both realized that we were there for the same thing. It was like,
mhm.
okay. But yeah, it was awesome. It was completely
Mm.
awesome.
Favorite moment other than winning? Favorite
My
moment?
favorite moment, being able to perform "Wonderful Is Your Name." I think that is my favorite
Mm.
moment. I think the first time I did it was my favorite moment of the season.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so you're standing on stage, drum roll, all of that. What does that feel like? Because this is where there's actual audience and all of those things before everything has happened. But what are you feeling at that moment, other than anxiety and nervousness?
I mean, complete nervousness. No, more so nervousness at home because, you know, everything was pre-recorded. So for me, it was everything was real, but we really didn't know who won for sure
Hmm.
until, you know, it aired. Like, I didn't know. And was that night was like incredible. I couldn't believe it. Like, I literally fell to the floor. I lost all the feeling in my body, and I just begin to thank God, because it's like, I cannot believe I did it. You know, all the times I thought I wasn't qualified enough, wasn't good
Mm,
enough, you know, would never make it, you know, would be attacked and taken down. Um, I just couldn't believe that I was there where I was in that moment. And I was just so grateful to God that He literally allowed that to happen.
mm. And so how did your life change within let's say the first couple weeks? How did your life change after that?
My life changed so much. I began to network with so much more, so many more people.
Hmm.
You know, my name was starting to get out there. Um, even after the show, still connecting with you know, the contestants. I think some of my favorite times after the show was traveling with some of the contestants, singing places like, me and Keela did a tour together in
Hmm.
the Louisiana area.
Hmm.
Me and Josh Copeland have done multiple dates together,
Hmm.
as well as Tiffany Andrews. You know, it's
Hmm.
just it's awesome. You know, and it feels amazing because it's like, this is what I've always dreamed of doing. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
I really get to do this at such a young age. Like, thank God for allowing him to see, my dreams now.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's amazing.
So I'm guessing you didn't go back to Massage Envy.
And I did. I actually did. I did, but I left right. And I was there for a while, but then things started picking up. The people started calling, for me to come and worship with them, and to share my testimony and different things like that, different radio interviews, and it all felt like a movie to me. It was just like completely crazy. And so I did have to leave Massage Envy after a while because I couldn't, do both.
Mm-hmm.
But God has sustained me since then, and I'm so thankful for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so when we talk about gospel music, like most people have different ideas of what that means. If you're talking about contemporary gospel or
Mhm.
even gospel done a cappella,
Mhm.
or even knowing the history of how gospel has evolved. For you, who are the trailblazers as far as getting gospel music outside of just the four walls of a church to
Mhm.
becoming more accessible to everyone?
There's so many people. Like you have like the pioneers, like James Cleveland and Thomas Dorsey and so many others. Like even bringing it closer, the Clark sisters, the
Mhm,
Winans, Donnie McClurkin. Goodness, there's so many other Kimberell,
mhm,
Ty Trivet. From even when I was a little kid growing up listening to them.
mhm,
And there's so many more from even further back that have paved the way for a lot of the artists in my generation, the generation before mine, to be successful and to continue on the legacy of gospel music.
mm,
And I am so proud and honored to be a part of that. For the long run. So God is good.
And so who are the innovators then? If those are the trailblazers, who do you think the innovators are as far as gospel music now,
Um,
other than you?
I would say I can't really think of too many. I would say, Anthony Brown is a good example.
Mhm,
He's a good example because, he kind of changes things up and does things, his own way and brings like a new flavor to gospel music, but still, makes it attractive, and people want to draw into it and changing the way we do things. I think that's one example. Even Jonathan McReynolds, he's another one that
mhm,
through his lyrics. And I'm sorry, even a pioneer, Kirk Franklin, that's one too. But
mhm.
even him now, he still finds a way to change things, and things are always changing. And I just think that is so cool.
So do you find that because you went through Sunday Best, well, let me say it differently. Obviously, going through Sunday Best opened a number of doors for you. Who has been your favorite, or maybe I shouldn't say favorite because they might see this, but who have you most enjoyed collaborating with as far as the voice work that you mentioned that you done earlier and some of the work that you're doing now?
um And so far, I'm thankful to everybody that I've collaborated with so far. It just
Good politically
means the
correct
world.
answer.
No, but yes, it does. It really does mean the world. Like, because, a lot of people that I've collaborated with so far, I've dreamt about, literally, and like thought about, like, I want to do this, I want to do that. And, some of them have already come to pass. But a key one, I would say, working with Kirk Franklin, especially on the show. Um, he played a key role in that arrangement of Wonderful Is Your Name from the
Mhm,
show, and working on that with him was incredible. Watching
mhm,
him just do what he does, running around the stage, you know um you know making ideas, just changing things and moving. It was just amazing to see, and I learned so much in so little time that
mhm.
it was awesome.
What's interesting though, because there's this perception, like if you are a gospel artist, and this and it's probably not true for any other type of music. If you're a gospel artist and you really can't listen to secular music, there's really no way that you can kind of cross over and still be perceived as being a genuine gospel artist. Do you agree with that, or do you feel like you've been able to navigate that space a little bit differently?
No, I think, well, music, a fact is music is a language, regardless. Music is music. Of course, there's different avenues, but being a gospel artist, literally is spreading the gospel of
Mhm.
Jesus Christ, to the world, to those who may not know, and to encourage those who do.
Mhm.
And I think, using every vein of music, every avenue of music, um, to the glory of God, when you take it and use it, it
Mhm.
it's everything, it makes things different, and it reaches so many more people than just staying confined to the four walls of the church. I
Mhm.
think, gospel music should be used in so many different styles. And I think that's one thing that I'm excited to bring to the gospel industry. Bringing, crossing the paths of music, with gospel, with spreading the gospel. So I'm excited for people to see more of that in the future,
Mhm.
because that's going to be super, super fun. And I can't wait to see it come to pass.
And I think that's beautiful that you say that music is a language, and
Mhm.
it's a language that everyone can speak, regardless of whatever higher power that they believe in. It doesn't have to be necessarily a Christian faith or
Mhm.
Jewish faith or Muslim faith or whatever.
Yep.
Well, so long as there's some sort of belief in a higher power. What are you listening to then? What's on your well, I don't know. Is it on your phone or your iPod? I still got an iPod.
um
What are you
Listen, I
listening to
listen
that's not
to
gospel?
that's not gospel. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, I listen to so many different artists. It is crazy because, like, I love music.
Mhm.
I have this playlist called Hit the Streets,
Mhm.
and it's literally songs like, when if I would be out at the mall or at the airport, somewhere not that's not home,
Mhm.
and hear a song that, that just sounds really, really good, and I just want to learn more about the song, the artist, maybe even learn the song because I like it. I
Mhm.
just added to my playlist. But there's so many people, like so many different people I listen to. I love Stevie Wonder.
Mhm.
He's completely amazing. PJ Morton is a big, big one for me. Goodness, I love listening to Pentatonics. I don't know if you
Mhm.
know who that is, but
Mhm. Mhm.
they're awesome. Like, I listen
Mhm.
to a lot of different things like that. Chance the Rapper, he's
Mhm.
incredible. Got to meet him one time
Mhm.
after the show. That was completely amazing.
Mhm.
Um, there's countless others that I listen to.
And so, what would you say in this amount of time, at least between Sunday Best and now? Because we're talking about season 9, which was
Mhm.
last year, and you
Mhm.
released wonderful Is Your Name in July? Is that right?
I released it in September.
In September.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, what do you think the biggest struggle, unexpected struggle that you've had, and how did you overcome it?
Um, with recording, I would say, putting out this album, I've got a testimony. It was a lot of struggles that came with that. I would say, um, recording, planning. I would say planning for, the recording, the production, everything like that was very, very, very tough because of the pandemic. We
Mhm.
couldn't really move how we wanted to. Things were, completely locked down. But God literally made a way, like, for us to just do what we had to do. But it was very tough. Very, very, very
Mm.
tough.
What?
Um,
No,
mhm.
go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, but I'm saying it was very tough. But just having, the right people, to push me to do what needed to get done, and having, doing things the right way. It all worked out.
Mm. What advice would you give to a young person who is thinking about pursuing a career in gospel music?
I would definitely say, if you know that this is what God wants you to do it. Let
Mhm.
go of fear. Fear of, what people are going to think. If God truly wants you to do this, He is going to make every step clear. There are going to be obstacles, yes. There are going to be hard times, yes. There are going to be struggles, yes. But just stay the course. God is literally got you. Stay humble. That
Mhm.
is a huge, 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 huge key. Staying humble, because there's always someone out there who is greater, better than you, and that knows what they're doing. And learn from people. Learn, take your time, study, better your craft. It
Mhm.
all, it all plays a role into just, getting out there. And there's some things I'm still learning. I'm 23, so there's so many things that I'm still learning, so many things I have to do. But I'm here with you guys, just doing it, living life.
Mm. And so do you sing all the time?
Yes, yes, all the time. If you would ask any one of my friends here at
Mhm.
home, they would tell you he just does not stop. And I'm probably never going to stop, but that's just me. I've been singing literally all my life.
So the new album is called, or the new project is called I've Got a Testimony, right?
Yes, I've got a testimony.
Released when?
September 4th.
Okay. And they can get it where? Everywhere?
Anywhere you listen to your music, Spotify, Apple Music, Google, anywhere. You can get it anywhere.
And what's the first release off of the album?
The first song is, I believe, "Wonderful Is Your Name" is the first song on that.
Okay. Can you give us a little
Yes,
something?
absolutely, absolutely. Um, all of my life I never known you to fail.
Mhm.
You remain the same, and wonderful is your name. All of my life, I've never known you to fail. You remain the same, and wonderful is your name. You woke me up this morning, started me on my way, put food on my table, brought joy to my day. I'm glad your love has never changed. And wonderful, wonderful, and wonderful, wonderful is your name.
Woo, child, if y'all didn't feel them chill bumps. Oh, did you feel the chill bumps?
Oh,
Lord have mercy. Oh, Melvin, that's beautiful. I've
thank
heard it, but
you.
other people who haven't, I'm gonna need y'all to pick up the album. I still say album.
It's good. No, that's it.
Right.
That's what I call it too.
I still say album. You gotta go pick it up. I've got a
Thank you.
testimony. It's an incredible, it's just a journey, and it is incredible, and it will motivate you, and it will, I mean, you'll probably shed tears in a good way, because every journey has those pitfalls, and you take us on that journey, as far as relying in faith, and difficult times, all of that. How would you tell someone, especially in this day and age, I don't want to get into politics, but in this era that we're in, where there's a stoking of fear and uncertainty, how would you tell someone to really focus on faith over fear in the type of atmosphere and environment that we kind of find ourselves entrenched in right now?
Yeah, I think mainly, literally, and it's not even that deep, but we have to remember that God is in control. If we believe, if we've known that, he's still the same God. He's consistent. The God that he was in the good times before all of this, that we celebrated, we thanked because we were in good times. He's the same. He has not changed. He is
Hmm.
literally the same. He still has all power. He still has all control. And we just have to depend on him. We have to pray. We have to just seek him to know what we need to do in these times. Yes, these times are very confusing, very difficult. We don't really know. Our way of life has just completely altered.
Hmm.
But God has not changed. I think that
Hmm.
is the biggest thing that we have to not even understand, but remember. I think we have to remember who he is. And it was my thing, to say that I want to make Jesus famous again. And that's what I want to
Hmm.
do, and not just make him famous to the people that have never heard of him or don't know who he is, but to the people that do, as a reminder that he is still who he is.
Hmm.
And we just have to depend on that. We're gonna be fine if we just lean on Jesus.
Okay. Well
Yeah.
said. Well said. Who are the people that you really, really, really want to collaborate with now that you have not? We're gonna
Mm,
put that in the atmosphere.
yes. I definitely would say Ty Tribbett,
Hmm.
Jonathan McReynolds, Kirk Franklin. Oh, there's so many people. I can't wait to collaborate with Kim Burrell.
Hmm.
Um, whew. One day, Jay Moss has always been someone that I've always wanted to collab with.
Hmm.
And PJ Morton is one more. There's so
Hmm.
many more because like I literally I'm a person that studies a whole bunch of different artists and has done so since I was a little kid. So I've had so many dreams of singing with so many different people.
Hmm.
Kara
When
Shear, that's another one.
Oh, that's an excellent one. That's an excellent one. When you look at yourself in the mirror, what parts of your mom do you see and what parts of your dad do you see?
My mom's smile, I think is what I see. And in my dad, I don't know. I think, I didn't always understand it. But a lot of people say that I'm like the perfect mix of them two.
Hmm.
And I kind of see it in both ways. A lot of my mannerisms is like my dad. A lot of times the way I talk fast sometimes. It's like my dad.
Hmm.
Um, if I mess around and play around and put on somebody's glasses, they say I look just like my mom. It can just change at any moment.
And so when you're not singing all the time and, putting together amazing records and all that, what do you do for fun?
What do I do for fun? Well, I'm a big
Fun.
kid, so I love watching movies, watching new shows. Going to the movies was my thing. Like I would love going to the movies all the time.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know anything that is fun. Like I like to go paintballing, laser tag. Like I do it all, like literally. Because that's just me. I'm an adventurous person, a big kid, and that's just what I love to do.
Now, I heard you say earlier that you used to love to watch cartoons. Who's your favorite cartoon character?
From back in the day, like when I was
Well,
younger.
I don't know. Your back in the day is different from my back in the
That's
day.
true. That's true.
So,
But yeah, that may be true. But I do like a lot of old shows. Like it's not a cartoon, but I'm a person that loves I Love Lucy, Happy Days, The Honeymooners. Like that was when I
mhm.
was a kid. I would watch that type of stuff.
Okay.
But now my favorite is Steven Universe. He's like that's my favorite cartoon ever. Um,
Okay.
and yeah,
So, what about old school?
old
Well, I suddenly
school.
feel old, but old school cartoons.
um, I was a big Looney Tunes fan. Um, I think I was a big Looney Tunes fan. I think Looney Tunes is like it
Who's your favorite? Did you have a favorite character, or is just Looney Tunes in general?
had to be Bugs Bunny for me. My
Mm.
dad would always mimic Bugs Bunny in his everyday life, so I think that would be like that would become one of my favorite characters between Bugs and Daffy Duck. Those are my two.
Now you talking about the original Looney Tunes, not this other
No, not the baby
stuff that
Looney
they done
Tunes. No, I'm
messed it
talking
up
about the
with.
old Looney Tunes. Yeah.
There we go. There we go. So, and again, if you haven't done so already, I've Got a Testimony is the new project that is out on iTunes. Can they catch it on Spotify or?
Yes, Spotify. It is
Okay.
on Spotify.
You should already have your own Pandora channel by now. Do you have it?
I think so. I gotta double check, but I believe there is a
We're
Melvin
gonna say
Crispell
you
channel
do.
on
If not, we gonna make sure that happens. We're gonna definitely make sure that happens. Couple of other quick questions before we wrap up. So
Okay.
when you are struggling with your
Mhm.
faith, other than prayer, like how do you go to find your own sense of peace, and how can you? And what advice would you give to someone who really doesn't necessarily have a comfort level with traditional prayer or traditional meditation? Is
Yeah,
there a way that they can reconnect in a way to find a sense of peace?
yeah. I think from my standpoint, I prayed and asked God for um the right people to surround me always.
Hmm.
Um and so if it's not prayer for me, I have, people that I talk to that are very close to me and that I trust with my heart, with my emotions, so that if I ever need to get away, if I ever need to talk about, real talk. You know, I
Mhm.
can do that, and I think that is important to have that person, that outlet. Therapy is another thing that is very important. Like I am about to start a therapy program to even, you know, just for my personal health, mental health. And I
Mhm.
think that is something that is important for everybody. But yeah, I think that, having either a therapist or, someone that you can really, really trust.
Mm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, all right. So, if we were doing this in studio, we would have had all the pictures and all of the beautiful stuff that we do under the normal circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
But we are going to do part of what I do at the end. So, I call this segment So I
Okay.
ask you 3 questions.
Mm-hmm.
Can't think about it. Just got to answer it. Kind of random, but you can
Okay.
handle it. Okay.
Okay.
Question number 1. I don't want to ask you that. Yes, I do. What secret talent do you have? Because it's not going to be a secret anymore once you tell us.
Oh, I can do this whistle really loud. I don't know where it came from. I can just do it.
Like a through your teeth whistle or just whistle?
I don't know. It's like through my lip. It's weird. I don't know.
We're
Okay.
listening.
I don't know. It's weird. It's so loud, but I don't know. I don't know why I can do it. I don't know, but I just.
Wait a minute. We got to do it one more time. Wait, one more time.
I don't know. It doesn't work all the time.
Well, folks, you've seen it here first. No longer a secret. We do a lip whistle. We're going to call that the lip whistle.
Call it a lip whistle.
Okay. Lip whistle. That's what we're going to roll with. Now, I thought about this question, but I hope you're not going to embarrass me and be like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm going to ask you anyway. So if you were a Star Wars or Star Trek character, who would you be? Did you watch
Lando Calrissian. Lando Calrissian.
Interesting.
Lando Calrissian.
Why?
Well, either him or Luke Skywalker. I mean, I would say Lando because, he was kind of the one who was just like, the getaway. If you need to get away, I'm here. Like, I got you covered. I got your back, on the low, and I think that's me. Like, we don't have to be, out in the forefront, friendship, relationship, whatever, but just know I got your back. Like, I'm a person that's always going to have somebody's back if I tell you that, and yeah, I think that just fits me.
Oh, that's a great breakdown. I thought you were gonna be like Star Trek. I never watched Star Trek.
Yeah.
I'll be like, damn, Star Wars. I know you watched that. So, all right, sweet. Okay, and last question. If you every time you walk into a room, what's the one song that is your theme song? So every time you walk into a room, that's the song that people hear, and it can't be gospel. That when you walk into a room, that's the song, that's your jam. Like if somebody was walking behind you with a boombox, that's the song they would press play every time you walk into a room. That's your hype song. That's the I'm in the room, people.
Okay.
This is my jam.
It's called
Wait a minute.
No, let me think. I just want to make sure that's the right song. Okay, yeah, it's called Don't Stop Me Now by Queen.
We need to Google that real quick. How's it go?
Queen is the
rock
one
band.
of my favorite artists ever in
like
the world.
Rock band Queen.
Yeah, rock band, like the old Queen, Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
It's called Don't Stop Me Now. That's my theme song.
Don't Stop Me Now.
Yeah.
How's it go?
Tonight I'm gonna have myself a real good time. I feel alive, and the world, I'll turn it inside out. I can't remember the rest.
They didn't sing it like that, but you not. Nah, actually, I want you to sing again. But it was a setup. They didn't sing it like that though.
Listen, Freddie Mercury is another vocalist that I love, that I literally watch and just because he's amazing.
And a completely fascinating story. Yolanda said, we don't know that one. We need another one. Look, that's Melvin's song, and that's what we sticking to.
That's the theme song.
That's the theme song. So again, for those of you who are just tuning in or you're catching the replay, make sure you go back to the beginning as we talked about Melvin's story, his journey through Sunday Best, pitfalls and things that he has experienced and has overcome, and just this overwhelming theme tonight of embracing faith over fear. That's the big thing that I wanted you to come away with tonight. And especially as you listen to Melvin really talk about his story. If you're not following him, make sure, like I said at the beginning of the show, make sure that you're following him, particularly on IG at the third Melvin Crispell. That's okay. There's
Yep.
Yeah, you flip the third. So it's the third Melvin, not Melvin.
Yep.
Right. That. And then what is it on Twitter? Is it the same on Twitter?
Yeah, @_ Melvin Crispell. It's just @ Melvin Crispell on Twitter.
Okay, and
Yeah.
you have a Facebook page.
Melvin
You have a
Crispell
fan
III.
page for sure.
Yes.
And then of course I've Got a Testimony is the new album. I'm still saying album, whatever. You know what I mean? Find it on iTunes. You can tune in on Spotify. If he doesn't have a Pandora station, we're gonna create one tonight. We're gonna make that happen. Melvin, thank you for gracing us tonight and just being your incredibly authentic self. We definitely appreciate you. If you're tuning into the replay, make sure, like I said, you go and you follow and support as we talk about the evolution of gospel, especially now, regardless of whatever your religious beliefs are, faith in whatever higher power is what's going to push us through this time, and to rely on that faith versus succumbing to fear, because that is what is so incredibly important. Next week's show is going to be on the evolution of hip hop. I'm not telling you who the guest is. You're going to have to tune in on Friday when I make the announcement, doggone it. But that's going to be the next show. Melvin, again, thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I cannot wait to see how your star just continues to shine and your trajectory just continues to be up in the stratosphere, because your energy, even through this screen, and I'm sure people will agree, your energy is absolutely incredible. And I know your parents are so proud.
Thank you so
very
much.
Proud.
This was absolutely amazing. Thank you for having me. This was awesome. I can't wait till next time.
Yes, my darling. All right. So y'all have a good night. I will see you next week. Thank you, Melvin. Go get the album.
Yes.
I said, go get the album. For those of you who don't know what that is, go download it. Because if you missed him singing, go back and listen. Just incredible. And I love you for that. Thank you so much. Y'all have a good night.